Let me begin by thanking the leaders represented here today who have safeguarded the health of their people and of Africa's future. Some of you are meeting us for the first time, so please allow me to introduce the Mastercard Foundation. We are a Canadian foundation created in 2006 through the generosity of Mastercard Inc. when it became a publicly listed company. From inception, the Mastercard Foundation was established as a separate and independent organization with its own governance structure. Our foundation's policies and decisions are made by our board of directors. And early on, our board made a pivotal decision that the foundation would focus its work in Africa. So for more than a decade, we have worked with many partners in 30 African countries to expand access to financial services and education to improve the lives of millions of people. A few years ago, we began implementing Young Africa Works, a strategy that addresses something on the minds of every parent, every leader, and every young person: jobs, employment for young people. We set a goal to enable 30 million young people to access dignified and fulfilling work by the end of this decade. The majority will be young women. To undertake this strategy, we transformed ourselves. We opened up offices in 7 countries across the continent, hired wonderful staff, based our leaders, including myself, in Africa. And importantly, we committed that 75% of our partners will be African organizations. We remain committed to implementing Young Africa Works, but it's difficult, it's challenging to forge ahead until we fully address COVID-19. We applaud the response of African leaders through the African Union, the Africa CDC, and in the private sector. Their work was exemplary. They took swift, coordinated, science-based actions to stem the virus. Last year, the African Union set a goal to vaccinate at least 60% of the population by 2022. And through the efforts of the African Vaccine Acquisition Task Team and COVAX, the continent expects to have vaccines for between 45 to 50% of the population. So a gap still remains to be closed. We began this year with hope that vaccines would be deployed fast to turn the tide of the pandemic, to make sure everyone was safe, and that we could begin the work of rebuilding and recovery. Still, inequities persist. As you've heard, less than 2% of Africa's population has been vaccinated, in contrast to over 50% in other regions. Addressing this inequity is a moral imperative. It demands a response from governments, from the private sector, from international partners, from all of us. So today, I'm really honored, I'm humbled, and I'm grateful to announce a bold partnership. The Mastercard Foundation will deploy $1.3 billion over the next 3 years in partnership with the Africa CDC to save lives and livelihoods of millions of people and to hasten the economic recovery of the continent. This partnership has 4 key priorities. First, to acquire vaccines for at least 50 million people. Second, to support the delivery and rollout of vaccinations to millions more across Africa. Third, to prepare the workforce for vaccine manufacturing in Africa. Fourth, to strengthen the Africa CDC and enable it to undertake this historic initiative in partnership with countries. This initiative is inclusive of all member states of the African Union. It builds upon the enormous progress of African leaders and their national vaccination programs. It also builds upon the work of COVAX, the World Health Organization, the European Union, the US, and other international partners. We expect that this initiative is also an opportunity to unlock the economic potential of the health sector and create jobs and work opportunities for thousands of people so they too can begin the recovery. The key word here is partnership. All of us have a stake in ending this crisis. We can and we must make the systemic investments to increase global health security and economic resilience. We all have a sense of urgency, but let's also be optimistic. Even now, there are many reasons to be optimistic. From the innovation we've seen across Africa in response to the pandemic, to the unprecedented collaboration, exceptional leadership, and feats of science here in Africa and around the world. Hopefully, best of us is still to come.